This is Mac OS Ken.
The wait gets longer for the Pro phones, patches and problems in iOS, and Mr. Corman gets the pink slip. It is Monday, the 4th of October, 2021. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSCan. This show is also sponsored by Notion, one workplace for your whole team. If you're working on or at a startup, you are, by definition, building something new. But building something new doesn't mean you have to reinvent everything. Having one spot to organize and work as a team makes it much easier. That is what Notion can do for you. Notion gives you one place for your team's notes, documents, projects, tasks. It's like the tools you need to build your business all together. With powerful integrations and seamless navigation, you'll have everything you need in one spot. The right hand doesn't have to worry about what the left hand is doing because they're working together. For startups, Notion can provide a full-on operating system for running every aspect of your company, keeping everyone aligned as you grow fast and take on more. Interested? Want to find out more? Notion is running a special offer just for startups. Get up to $1,000 off Notion's team plan by going to notion.com/startups. To give you a sense, that's almost a year of free Notion for a team of 10. Again, that's notion.com/startups to receive up to $1,000 in free credit to use Notion with your team. That's up to a $1,000 value when you go to notion.com/startups. iPhones in the 13 Pro line are still tough to get. Mac Rumors ran a piece Friday saying folks looking to buy an iPhone 13 Pro or 13 Pro Max in Canada, the UK, and the US were looking at a wait of 3 to 4 weeks. I, of course, had to go looking, and I did not see any of this 3-week business. Spot checking for both of the phones in the Pro line showed delivery times of 4 to 5 weeks, with one in my hands between the 4th of November and the 11th. iPhone 13 mini was kind of interesting. Order for delivery, and I'd be waiting until sometime between the 15th of October and the 20th. If I'd been willing to pay $9 for delivery or head to a store, though, could have had one yesterday. iPhone 13 was particularly interesting. The 128 gigabyte seems to be the hardest to get. Trying that in a few different colors yielded delivery dates between the 25th of October and the 28th. That was true for other storage sizes as well, unless I was either willing to go to the store myself or pay that $9 for delivery. Do that, and it could have been in my hot little hands within a couple of hours. Again, though, that differed depending on color and configuration. If you want to build an availability map for yourself, try them all. And if you actually want to get a new iPhone, give that a go too. You can even try something in the Pro line, but for those, you are probably looking at a month or more, at least as far as ordering from Apple is concerned. From hard-to-get phones to hard-to-get fixes, iMore says Apple has ended its logic board repair program for iPhone 8. This one goes back a few years. According to the report, Apple announced in August of 2018 that it had determined that a very small percentage of iPhone 8 devices contain logic boards with a manufacturing defect that caused devices to experience unexpected restarts, a frozen screen, or failure to power on. Apple repaired identified devices free of charge. A little over 3 years later, they are done with that. Seriously though, the phone is over 4 years old itself. Between the passage of time and Apple ending the free repairs, you gotta figure that if this was going to be an issue for you, it would have been already. Fixes and persistent breaks for iOS 15. Engadget says Apple on Friday posted iOS 15.0.1, taking care of at least 3 issues. That was the number posted in Apple's release notes. Working from least important to most, the 3 issues listed by Apple include fixing an issue where audio meditations could unexpectedly start a workout on Apple Watch for some Fitness Plus subscribers, taking care of that bug where the Settings app may incorrectly display an alert that storage is full, and righting the wrong where Unlock iPhone with Apple Watch may not work on iPhone 13 models. Since the update, Unlock with Apple Watch works like a charm for me. Sad to say my iPhone still won't sing me awake though. Anyway, the update is free and easy. Have at. The release notes for iOS 15.0.1 also provide a link to Apple's security updates page for info on update security content. Funny thing, for the tiny iOS update, Apple says there is none. So when did they fix the convoluted lock screen bypass we heard about a couple of weeks ago? On the heels of the iOS 15 release on the 20th of September, Apple Insider ran a report saying a new iOS vulnerability enables would-be attackers to bypass a secured iPhone lock screen and access notes by leveraging a combination of VoiceOver and common sharing tools. It was not an easy smartphone security vulnerability to exploit, but, as my great-grandpappy used to say, no smartphone security vulnerability worth exploiting is. Here's what's weird. We know who found the vulnerability, or who publicized it anyway. Apple Insider lists them as researcher Jose Rodriguez. But Apple seems to acknowledge neither Mr. Rodriguez nor the issue itself. Another piece from Apple Insider says Apple fixed the funky lock screen bypass with the release of iOS 15.0.1, but failed to publicly recognize the weakness or the person who discovered it. I'm curious whether you caught last week's edition of The Checklist by Secure Mac. Playing on the brand new Apple TV Plus show, The Problem with Jon Stewart, we called last week's checklist 249, The Problem with Apple Security. One of the problems addressed, Apple's lack of communication with security researchers. Krebs on Security argued last week that lack of communication can create security risks of its own. Now, it is possible that Apple talked to Mr. Rodriguez behind the scenes. Not posting that the problem existed makes it look like Apple's just trying to pretend it never happened. Not fixed with Friday's update, a trio of publicly disclosed zero-day flaws. Checklist number 249 covered these as well, though, to be honest, mostly what was covered was Apple's failure to address concerns of the researcher who found them. That researcher goes by the handle Illusion of Chaos. They say they gave Apple more than 90 days to answer questions like when the reported issues would be addressed and whether Illusion of Chaos would be eligible for Apple's bug bounty program. When Apple failed to answer any of those questions and failed to fix them after 90 days, the researcher revealed the exploits. Not sure it's actually news that Apple hasn't fixed something. Apple Insider seems to think so, though, so there you go. After nearly 2 weeks of stories about bugginess in iOS 15, it's maybe not surprising that adoption of Apple's latest mobile operating system is reportedly lagging last year's. Yet another piece from Apple Insider has new numbers from Mixpanel. By that firm's reckoning, 15 is way behind 14 after just 14 days out. Based on devices visiting its network of sites, second-week adoption of iOS 15 was running at just under 21%, according to Mixpanel. During the same period of time for iOS 14, adoption was between 40 and 41%. More news in a moment, but first a word from Upstart. Fair and fast personal loans. Keeping up with your bills is good. Getting ahead of them is better. Upstart can help. Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan, all online. Whether it's paying off credit cards, consolidating high-interest debt, or funding personal expenses, over 1 million people have used Upstart to get a simple, fixed monthly payment with a clear payoff date. Upstart looks at more than just your credit score, factoring in income and current employment. You can check your rate without impacting your credit score in minutes for loans between $1,000 to $50,000, and you can receive funds as fast as 1 business day after accepting your loan. Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/macOSken. UPSTART, that's upstart.com/macOSken. Don't forget to use my URL to let them know I sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. Upstart.com/macOSken. Well, this is somewhere between awkward and ruinous. You know how Apple talks often about leaving the planet better than it found it? A piece from Engadget says a couple of organizations that represent Apple are fighting the Biden administration's $3.5 trillion budget bill, which includes measures to fight climate change. The 3 organizations highlighted in the report are the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, the Rate Coalition, and the Business Roundtable. Apple CEO Tim Cook is pretty much required to know what's going on with one of those organizations because he is on the board of the Business Roundtable, along with Amazon CEO Andy Jassy and Google CEO Sundar Pichai. Interestingly, the only company that seems to have offered comment on the issue is Amazon. As we said earlier this year, said Amazon to Engadget, we support an increase in the corporate tax rate to pay for things like infrastructure, and we look forward to Congress and the administration coming together to find the right, balanced solution that maintains or enhances U.S. competitiveness. This despite the fact that Amazon CEO is on the board of a lobbying group fighting to stop such legislation. Meanwhile, a piece from The Guardian covering the same issue says Apple, when contacted, did not reject positions of the 3 lobbying firms. None of the companies contacted said they would reassess their connections to those bodies either, according to Engadget. If you have your COVID-19 vaccination record stored in Apple Health and you're flying United Airlines soon, you can hook those 2 together. On Friday, 9 to 5 Mac had the airline announcing integration between its app and Apple's health system to let flyers use their verifiable COVID-19 vaccination record stored in Apple Health as proof of vaccination before traveling. There are a few steps, most of them handled behind the touchscreen. Boiling those down, you go to the Travel Ready Center on the United iPhone app, choose the option to upload vaccine documentation, tap Upload, tap Share Your Smart Health Card, give the Apple Health app permission to do so, and enjoy your flight. Simple as all of that sounds, it should get easier soon. iOS 15.1 is meant to make adding COVID-19 vaccination cards to Apple Wallet easy, peasy, and lemon squeezy. Here is something you don't hear often. Apple TV Plus has canceled a series. Some Apple TV shows stop on their own. The 3rd season of Dickinson will be its last, for example. To this point, the only series I can remember hearing Apple actually canceled was the J.J. Abrams-produced Little Voice. Then there were 2. Deadline says the Cupertino streamer has pulled the plug on Mr. Corman. Produced by A24, and created, written, directed, acted in, and executive produced by Joseph Gordon-Levitt, Deadline says Mr. Corman told the story of a fifth-grade teacher who ponders the bigger questions to life and struggles with his own emotions while keeping his San Fernando Valley Elementary School class afloat. A former aspiring musician, he works through anxiety, loneliness, and a sinking suspicion that he sucks as a person. While it did fine with critics, picking up a 70% score on Rotten Tomatoes, Deadline says the show did not draw a wide audience on the platform the way other Apple TV Plus comedy series have done this past summer, including flagship Ted Lasso, Schmigadoon, Physical, Mythic Quest, and Trying, which have either been renewed or looking good for renewal. I really wanted to like Mr. Corman. I got through 15 minutes of the first episode. Not a review, just a thing that happened. One show ends, another begins. iMore says Apple dropped a teaser on Twitter last week with scenes from the show Swagger. That is the Apple TV Plus series inspired by the life of NBA star Kevin Durant. According to iMore, Swagger explores the world of youth basketball and the players, their families, and coaches who walk the fine line between dreams and ambition and opportunism and corruption. The series hits with 3 episodes on Friday, the 29th of October. They will follow on 1 episode per Friday for the remainder of the season. You can look for the teaser on the Apple TV Twitter account, conveniently located at twitter.com/Apple TV. And finally today, have you heard about the spy film Argylle? You'd be forgiven if you hadn't. It's based on a book of the same name by Ellie Conway. Have you read it? No, you have not, because it is not even out yet. And yet, it is the start of a series of books, the film adaptation of which is being helmed by Matthew Vaughn for Apple Studios. A piece from Deadline says the film is also expected to be the start of a series, certainly something Vaughn has done before. He's been a creative force behind all 3 films in the Kingsman series. On Argylle, Deadline says the film, setting up a new franchise for Vaughn, follows the world's greatest spy, Argylle, as he is caught up in a globe-trotting adventure which takes him from America to London and beyond. Well, that could describe Kingsman, or Bond, or Bourne, or Jack Ryan, or even Austin Powers. Speaking of which, this film has star power to spare, with a cast that includes Henry Cavill, Sam Rockwell, Bryce Dallas Howard, Bryan Cranston, Catherine O'Hara, John Cena, Samuel L. Jackson, and, the latest addition, Ariana DeBose. Apple TV Plus viewers know the Tony Award nominee from Schmigadoon. She played the town's teacher, Emma Tate. IMDb lists Argylle as in production. It is expected to be released sometime in 2022. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by Notion. One workplace for your startup. Get up to $1,000 off at notion.com/startups. This show is also sponsored by Upstart, fair and fast personal loans. Learn more and check your rate at upstart.com/macOSken. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. info@macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.